Hello and welcome to episode 3 of my readings from Snorri Sturlusson's Prose Edda. So where we got to last time, King Gilfa, under the guise of Ganglere, had made his way into Asgard and was questioning the three chiefs in their high seats. And he touched upon the creation story. So we're going to continue with his next question. What took place before the races came into existence, and men increased and multiplied? Replied Har, explaining that as soon as the streams that are called elevogs had come so far from their source that the venomous yeast which flowed with them hardened, as does dross that runs from the fire, then it turned into ice, and when this ice stopped and flowed no more, then gathered over it drizzling rain that arose from the venom and froze into rime, and one layer of ice was laid upon the other, clear into Ginnungagap. Then said Jafnar, all that part of Ginnungagap that turns towards the north was filled with thick and heavy ice and rime, and everywhere within were drizzling rains and gusts. But the south part of Ginnungagap was lighted up by the glowing sparks that flew out of Muspelheim. Added Thrida, as cold and all things grim proceeded from Niflheim, so that which bordered on Muspelheim was hot and bright, and Ginnungagap was as warm and mild as windless air. And when the heated blast from Muspelheim met the rime, so that it melted into drops, then, by the might of him who sent the heat, the drops quickened into life, and took the likeness of a man. That man's name was Ymir. But the frost giants call him Orgulmer. Thus it is said in the short prophecy of the Valar, the lay of the Hyndla. All the Valars are from Vidolf descended, all wizards are of Vilmaida's race, all enchanters are sons of Svartofter, all giants have come from Ymir. And on this point, when Vafthrudner the giant was asked by Gungrad, whence came Orgulmer originally to the sons of the giants, thou wise giant? He said, from the elevogs sprang drops of venom, and grew till a giant was made. Thence our race are all descended, therefore are we all so fierce. Then asked Ganglere, how were the races developed from him? Or what was done so that more men were made? Or do you believe him to be the god of whom you now spake? Made answer Har, by no means do we believe him to be god. Evil was he and all his offspring. Them we call frost giants. It is said that when he slept, he fell into a sweat, and then there grew under his left arm a man and a woman, and one of his feet begat the other a son. From these come the races that are called frost giants. The old frost giant we call Ymir. Then said Ganglere, where did Ymir dwell, and on what did he live? Answered Har, the next thing was that when the rime melted into drops, there was made thereof a cow, which hight Ordumbla. 4 milk streams ran from her teats, and she fed Ymir. Thereupon asked Ganglere, on what did the cow subsist? Answered Har, she licked the salt stones that were covered with rime, and the first day that she licked the stones, there came out of them in the evening a man's hair. The second day, a man's head, and the third day, the whole man was there. This man's name was Buri. He was fair of face, great and mighty, and he begat a son whose name was Bor. This Bor married a woman whose name was Bestla, the daughter of the giant Bullthorn. They had 3 sons. The one hight Odin, the other Vili, and the third Vi. And it is my belief that this Odin and his brothers are the rulers of heaven and earth. We think that he must be so called. That is the name of the man whom we know to be the greatest and most famous, and well may men call him by that name. Ganglere asked, how could these keep peace with Ymir, or who was the stronger? Then answered Har, "The sons of Bor slew the giant Ymir, but when he fell, there flowed so much blood from his wounds that they drowned therein the whole race of frost giants, excepting one, who escaped with his household. Him the giants called Bergelmer. He and his wife went on board his ark and saved themselves in it. From them are come new races of frost giants, as is here said. Countless winters ere the earth was made was born Bergelmer. This first I call to mind, how this crafty giant safe in his ark lay." Then said Ganglere, "What was done then by the sons of Bor, since you believe that they were gods?" Answered Har, "About that there is not a little to be said. They took the body of Ymir, carried it into the midst of Ginnungagap, and made of him the earth. Of his blood they made the seas and lakes. Of his flesh the earth was made, but of his bones the rocks, of his teeth and jaws, and of the bones that were broken they made stones and pebbles." Jafnar remarked, "Of the blood that flowed from the wounds and was free, they made the ocean. They fastened the earth together around it. They laid this ocean in a ring without, and it must seem to most men impossible to cross it." Frida added, "They took his skull and made thereof the sky, and raised it over the earth with 4 sides. Under each corner they set a dwarf, and the 4 dwarfs were called Ostre, Vestre, Nordre, and Sudre. Then they took glowing sparks that were loose and had been cast from Muspelheim, and placed them in the midst of the boundless heaven, both above and below, to light up heaven and earth. They gave resting places to all fires, and set some in heaven. Some were made to go free under heaven, but they gave them a place and shaped their course. In old songs it is said that from that time days and years were reckoned. Thus, in the prophecy of the Bala, the sun knew not where her hall she had, the moon knew not what might he had, the stars knew not their resting places. Thus it was before these things were made." Then said Ganglere, "Wonderful tidings are these I now hear. A wondrous great building is this, and deftly constructed. How was the earth fashioned?" Made answer Har, "The earth is round, and without it round about lies the deep ocean, and along the outer strand of that sea they gave lands for the giant races to dwell in. And against the attack of restless giants they built a burg within the sea and around the earth. For this purpose they used the giant Ymir's eyebrows, and they called the burg Midgard. They also took his brains and cast them into the air, and made therefrom the clouds, as is here said. Of Ymir's flesh the earth was made, and of his sweat the seas, rocks of his bones, trees of his hair, and the sky of his skull. But of his eyebrows the blithe powers made Midgard for the sons of men. Of his brains all the melancholy clouds were made." And that is where I'm going to end today's episode. Thank you so much. Goodbye.